All right, I never watched that, on a big screen before. I'm always looking at it on my iPhone, so I never got a chance to really see it. It made me look, I don't know, kind of scary. So, but I'm really not I'm not a scary person, especially that last one. I'm sitting there with my arms all folded up. But once again, my name is Dewayne Riggins, and I just want to tell you guys a little bit about my story, about who I am and where I came from. Just get right into it for a space of time. I'm originally from Georgia. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the town Macon, M-A-C-O-N, Macon, Georgia. It's like 75 miles outside of Atlanta. And my father was a pastor, right? So I grew up in church. And all I pretty much knew was church. I had to go to church when everybody was playing. I had to go to church. So down south, Southern Baptist churches, at that time, it was very strict in some ways. I grew up, I wasn't as big as I am now. I think somebody came up, whoever it was, and wanted to feel my muscles, so whoever it was. But when I was younger, I was very little. I was very small. I was a skinny kid. Because of my complexion, growing up in the South was not accepted. Not just by, and I'm not talking about white America, I'm talking about by some black Americans down south. It was not accepted because I was darker. And I thought I had a curse. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought God had cursed me. I thought it was a mistake. I thought that, I was the worst mistake in the world. So I didn't like myself, all right? And that's what I showed a lot. What ended up happening is I was bullied really bad, very bad. In grammar school, I remember going the long way around, taking probably 2 blocks out of my way to get home because a kid wanted to beat me up because he said I was different. In middle school, I don't remember my middle school years. And I really get very sensitive when I talk about this, so I cry, it's just me, because there's some things I'm still painful of. This is why I talk to a lot of kids. You shouldn't bully kids. You shouldn't do that, because when you do that, you kind of bring them down and make them think that it's something less about them. I was bullied in grammar school and middle school, and I forgot, in fact, I don't remember most of our middle school years. The only thing I remember is going to the bathroom and having this guy, and I know his name, Melvin Little, right? And right now he's really little. When I see him when I go home, he's this little bitty guy. But Melvin would bully me. I would go to the bathroom, and Melvin would push me into the urinals, him and his posse, or they would, lock the doors, and it got kind of violent, where I didn't want to go to the bathrooms. I don't remember my classrooms. I don't remember the cafeteria. I don't remember gym time. I don't remember none of that. I blocked it out. My brother died, my older brother died probably like 4 or 5 years ago, 4 years ago. I went home, went to the funeral, and I got in my other brother's car, and I drove past the school, which is abandoned now. I stood in front of the school, and I could not remember one thing. I couldn't remember the hallways, and I stood there and I cried. And the reason I cried, because I'm like, something so horrible happened to me. And I blocked it out. I walked up to the door and looked through the door and couldn't remember the hallways. That's how bad it was. What I want to do now is that when God continue to bless me and help me financially, I want to go back and I want to turn that school, if it's still available, I want to turn it into a school of performing arts. I want to work with kids. The place where I was bullied, the place that tried to break me, I want to go back and I want to make it so people can go and be able to get help. As I went on through high school, I became the child or the kid that no girl wanted to date. I couldn't get a date if you paid me. I couldn't get a date if you paid the girl. I couldn't get a date. I was not popular. I was the most likely not to succeed in life. I was 119 pounds as a freshman. And I was like 6 feet. So imagine what that looked like. 119 pounds as a freshman, 6 feet. And it was amazing. I remember wrestling. I wanted to go out for the wrestling team. I wrestled at 119. I did that. And it was okay. I think I wrestled 1 match, and then that was it. But all through school, bully. And the very hard part is that my mother became alcoholic. So being in school and being bullied, and then having to go home and deal with a mother that was alcoholic. Mind you, my father was a pastor, so it was very tough on his ministry as well. But she had to deal with something that brought her down. And this is something I had to face. I learned how to drive a car at the age of 13 years old. Because I used to have to go to work, pick her up, they would call, and bring her home. Now, we didn't come from a poor family. I didn't come from a wealthy family. I always tell people I was stuck somewhere between middle class and poor. I don't know what that is, if that's a class or not, but my family worked very hard to take care of me. Now, it was 21 years different between me and my brother, okay? My younger brother, the brother's older than me, I'm sorry. 21 years difference. So my mother had me when she was like 45, 46 years old. So basically, I was the only child. Everybody had moved and migrated up to New Jersey. So I was at home by myself, all right? I began to just feel bad about myself. I didn't think that I was worth anything. I thought that, once again, God had made a mistake. One scripture that comes to my mind that I always use right now is that all things are possible to one who believes. If you believe it, it's possible. One thing that they could not take away from me, and that's my dreams. See, I was a dreamer. I used to get on my bike, as I was saying, and I would take long rides, and I would dream. I would dream about being successful. I would dream about doing some wonderful things. And I always liked helping people. I always liked being in front of people and helping people and trying to motivate people. But at that moment, I did not know my mission in life. So I went through school, and after high school, I decided, you know what, I'm going to New Jersey. I'm getting away from everybody, going up to where my brothers were, and I'm going to change my life. But I still had a victim mentality. I still had a defeated mentality because something that happened to me as a child was still affecting me as an adult. So I got up here and show you how Satan works. My neighbor happened to be a drug dealer. Living with my brother, downstairs, below us, our neighbor was a drug dealer. I remember going in, I sat down, I talked to him, and we started smoking marijuana, and he said, listen, I got this stuff called cocaine. I want to try it. And, of course, I tried it. Why? I wanted to be accepted. I felt like if I do this, it's going to make me cool. People are going to accept me. People are going to like me. People are going to love me. They're going to be with me because I'm cool. I'm sipping coke. I started using coke. I started smoking weed. I started drinking. I started doing things that now that I kind of regret doing it because it messes with my mind. I'm surprised I'm remembering all this stuff. So if I forget and repeat myself, just laugh and act like, it's just a little crazy. But that's what drugs do to you. It causes your mind to not function the way it normally would do. So I started using coke. I started drinking, trying to be accepted. Now, mind you, going back, I started training in martial arts when I was 15 years old. And I was always in martial arts. I was always fighting, always competing and whatever. But still, I still had a mind mentality of being a victim. It's how I viewed myself. It's not the way other people view me, it's how I view myself. I think in the Bible it talks about Joshua. I think when Joshua, they went over to view the land, he says the people over to view the land, they came back with a bad report. And only the bad report that came back was, when we went to the land, we saw giants in the land. And you know what they said? We saw giants in the land, and we be as grasshoppers in our sight. Not in the giant sight, but in their sight. The way they saw themselves. And God had already told them they had the land, but it's the way they saw themselves. I saw myself as being nothing. And so I started using drugs. I used drugs, I used it, and I abused it. Until I found myself sleeping in the car. For one whole year, I slept in the car. I slept through the cold. I mean, my family didn't know where I was, and I didn't want them to know where I was. I was frustrated. At the age of 24 years old, I wanted to take my life. And I remember this so well, walking up on the train tracks. Where the truck, I was in an abandoned truck. I walked up on the train tracks and I wanted to take my life. Because I felt my life was ruined. 24 years old, my life is ruined. I walked up on the tracks and the train was coming. And I looked at that train and I said, this is it. And I could see it coming. I heard the guy blowing the whistle or whatever the thing, and it was just, and as clear as I'm talking to you today, people say what they want to say. The voice of God spoke to me and said, there's another way. You don't have to do this. I stepped off the track. The train goes past. I went back and I sat down in the truck and I started crying because I'm like, God, what else? I mean, I ruined my life. I mean, I didn't go to college. I didn't do this. A lot of my friends did this. And my life is ruined. I'm 24 years old. I should be doing something great with my life. And God says another way. The gentleman he's not my pastor now, that became my pastor, at that time, and it sounds like a fairy tale, but I'm telling you this is so true, he walked past the truck where I was sitting, and God said, catch him and talk to that gentleman. I followed him to his house. Now the guy I was then, you wouldn't probably want to be in the room. If you saw the way I looked then, I had hair on my head, of course. I had all the shit was on my face. I had the same clothes on for months. I smelled. Same shoes. On drugs. And you know what? I'm surprised. And I know it's this God healing my body because I lived off potato chips and cookies. Because I had no job. And I remember going to his house. I knocked on his door. And when I knocked on his door, his wife answered the door. And she wanted to know, how can I help you? So I need to speak to Pastor Jones. That was his name. And she says, okay, she closed the door back. And she went and she got Pastor Jones. He come to the door. How can I help you? And I broke down in tears and I said, I'm tired. I just want to tell you, I'm tired. I don't know what else to do. I'm tired. He took me in. He said, okay, let's sit down and talk. He said, but let me pray with you first, young man. Now, I did not know that they were scheduled to have a prayer meeting at that exact time. So as I was kneeling to have prayer, maybe like 10 people from the church walks in and they kneel down with me. And I went, God changed my life through a prayer meeting. That day, it's been almost 30 years now. That day, my life changed. What changed? The Bible speaks about a renewing of the mind. I had to change my crowd, my environment. But I had to first change me. All the dreams that I had, all the things that I wanted to do, I had to start thinking that way. Now, I'm like, okay, fine, God. You're cleaning me up. You're getting myself together. Now I got to start to believe in Dewayne. I have to start to believe that Dewayne is somebody. That I'm worth more than anything. Most of all, I'm great in the eyes of God. At one time in my life, if you put up a paper wall and told me to run through it, I couldn't do it. But you put up now a steel wall 50 feet thick and tell me to go through it because there's something on the other side I have to get, I'm going through that wall. My confidence level has changed. You know who changed it? God did it. But I had to allow God to change my mind. I had to first start loving me, accepting me, believing in me. Now, the whole world don't have to like me, but as long as I love me and I know God loves me, I'm okay. I went on, and as you saw some of the marvelous things that are happening, I've been blessed where, now I'm training NFL players. I always wanted to go to LA. I've been to LA more than I need to go. I think in about 3 months, I think I might have went like 4 or 5 times. I just kept going back. 3 days there. I've done interviews. I got an opportunity to be Stevie Wonder. I don't know if some of you guys know who Stevie Wonder is. I mean, some of the old heads, we know what Stevie is. Isn't she love, Stevie? I got a chance to meet Stevie. I met Bart Scott, Antonio Cromartie. I was training Bart Scott. The gentleman asked me, he said, how did you get into doing that? So I trained Bart Scott. And Bart Scott one day, he gets out of his Bentley. And when he gets out of his Bentley, the back door opened, Tim Tebow walks out. I had a chance to train Tim Tebow. I'm sitting there talking like, I'm training Tim Tebow. Dwayne, you actually training Tim Tebow? And I train him. I mean, it doesn't matter if you get in front of me, we training. You're going to work out. I don't care who you are. So I'm like, let's go, Tim, let's go. Hi, on, Tim. I'm training guys, and now I have a publicist. I'm like, I have a publicist? Wow. I have an assistant, Liz, over there. She's been a tremendous help to me. She's been helping us tremendously. Me and my partner, Steve. We started a foundation called FAB, Friends Against Bullying. Now my publicist is working on getting us on The View. We might be on the Today Show, as well as Good Morning America. And plus, doing other things and traveling. But I came from a place of my life where I believed what people told me I was, to a place where I began to believe what God said I was. See, when you listen to people and people tell you this and they put you down, they put you down, they put you down, you begin to accept that. And when you accept it, it affects you. I don't care who you are in life. I don't care if you're young or old. All things are possible to one who believes. Believe it. Just believe it. What you got to lose? Huh? Just believe it. I mean, Peter looked at God. If you look at Jesus, Jesus was coming from the water. Peter said, hey, Jesus, can I come out there and walk with you? Jesus said, come on, Peter. Peter was cool. He's walking on water. This is all right. Hey, look, guys, I'm on water. Jesus put him through a test. Let me let the storm, the stuff around him start to, act up. Let the waves come up. He was okay as long as he kept his eyes on his goal. But what happened when the water started kicking up and the waves and the storms, and he started looking around, and what happened to Peter? He started to sink. That's what happened to many of us. We're so worried about what's around us, what people saying about us, and this is not happening, that is not happening, so I might as well give up. No! You don't give up. You keep your eyes on your goal. I'm not telling you you're going to be perfect and things are going to go right all the time, but don't quit. Some of you guys, you're young, you're in school, you have your whole life. My son's 22 years old. By the way, I'm 50. All right, so I'm giving my age. If I keep telling you all this stuff, he must be very old. 22 years old. He tells me, man, Dad, what am I going to do with my life? I said, what? You're 22. But I give to be 22 again. You have your whole life ahead of you. Your whole life ahead of you. Dream. Don't let nobody take your dream. They can take your money, they can take your car, they can take but your dream is yours. Dream it. Have a passion about something. Some people say, well, I don't have a gift. Yes, we do. Every one of us in here have a gift. God has blessed each one of us, every one of us, God has blessed us with a gift. You just got to pray, ask God, what do you want me to do? That what you may think God wants you to do may not be it. I had no idea I'd be at Elevate Ministry. What is it? Elevate? Elevate Brothers, Church Student Ministry. I never knew I would be doing this. I never knew I would meet a lady named Sarah. I never knew I would meet her husband. I never knew I would meet Liz. I was almost saying machine. I never knew I'd meet Robin. I call her the machine because she works out very hard. Don't be embarrassed. That's your mommy. I know it. Come on. But I never knew I would meet these guys. When I met this man, Lance, he was all happy, just a smile. Sitting in my class, he's smiling. And we just getting down. We doing exercises. He comes up, he was tired. He said, can I take a picture with you? With that same smile. I mean, who is this guy? He's energetic. But I never knew I would be doing this. Now, I'm doing good too. Look at it. Woo. I've dealt with youth ministries before. A point that I kind of got old. When I got involved with church, we had a youth ministry. And I've dealt with hundreds of kids. And I feel at home doing this. I spoke in Chicago. I spoke in Montana. I've been to Florida. And I've spoken to a lot of different children as well as adults. And we're always telling them and talk to them about being a better you and believing in yourself. If some of you guys have been bullied, you're not the one with the problem. The person with the problem is the bullier. And I pray there's no bullies in here. I don't like bullies. I'm not going to beat you up. Don't worry if you're a bully. But I just don't like the attitude of being a bully. I love everybody. But if you are a bully, if you just see somebody you want to pick on, come on, stop and think. Why? Why do you want to pick on that person? Why? Most bullies do that because it's something about they see in you that they wish they had. So I got to put you down to make me look good. You're not the one with the problem. They has the problem if you've been bullied. Believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself. Dream. Like this one guy down south, they used to bully this kid all the time. He was overweight, and they bullied him. And I went home, and there was an event that they had, and I went to the event with a friend of mine, and they had a police officer standing at the door, big guy, standing there, make sure everything was okay. I walked past, and I looked at him, like, hey, I get my friend, I said, isn't that? He said, yeah. I'm like, that's the one that used to push around. Yeah. I said, I guarantee you if I push him around now. They standing there, chest out here, arms all bent, gun on the side. Yeah. but you never know what your life is going to be. I mean, when people call you a nerd because you like to get A's and B's, think about it. Hello? That's what you're supposed to do, right? They're getting D's and F's and you get A's and B's and they say you're different. You get A's and B's? That's my man. And they say you're different? No, you're not different. You're doing what you're supposed to do. Don't let people put you down. Believe in yourselves. And if you believe in yourself, you can change the whole world. Just be confident, believe in yourself. I love you guys. The first time meeting you guys, some of your faces I've seen here and there. And if you're 12 years old, come to my class on Saturday. We have a good time on Saturdays. All the adults, I got some adults that's supposed to be, your sister says she's coming. She says she's coming to class. All right, you guys are all welcome. I really appreciate being here. My timing is excellent. I did it perfect, dude.
Yeah, you did.
I went through some of the things that I didn't really deal with, but a lot of things I did go through in my life. But the whole point is to show you guys how you can go from one point in your life and you end up somewhere else. That's why I have the company called Path to Power, because it's a pathway, and instead of growing weaker, the Bible speaks about going from strength to strength. Instead of growing weaker, you'll always get stronger in your life. Just believe in yourselves, and the whole world will change. God bless you. I love you guys. Give yourself a hand. Come on, give yourself a hand. If you have any questions, I'm here. If not, I give it back to Miss Sarah. And she works out hard.